Many years ago, a young American student made headlines around the world when she married the king of a tiny Himalayan kingdom called Sikkim. Overnight, she became a queen. She lived in a beautiful palace, had everything she could ever wish for, and her life seemed like a real-life fairy tale. But this did not last for long. So how did an ordinary American student become the queen of an Asian kingdom? What hardships did she have to endure during her marriage? How did she end up losing everything she once had? And what happened to her and her children afterward? Watch the full video to find out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get started. Today, Sikkim is a small state in northeastern India. But many years ago, it was an independent kingdom ruled by its own royal family. And at the heart of that kingdom, in the mid-1960s, was a young American woman who had never imagined she would one day become its queen. Hope Cooke was born in San Francisco in 1940. Her father was a flight instructor and her mother was an amateur pilot. When Hope was still very young, her father abandoned the family. Soon afterward, tragedy struck again when her mother died in a plane crash while flying alone with almost no fuel left in the tank. Only 2 years old at the time, Hope was taken in by her wealthy grandparents. Although they gave her a comfortable life, she was raised mainly by nannies and governesses, and some of them treated her harshly. One governess even beat her with a coat hanger because she could not remember part of the Lord's Prayer. By the time Hope was 15, both of her grandparents had passed away, and she moved to Iran to live with her uncle, who was serving there as an American ambassador. During those years, she made several trips to India and quickly fell in love with its culture. "I've never been so happy. India. My heart explodes. The East is my home. I must stay near India somehow." After finishing school, Hope enrolled in a college in New York to study Asian studies. At the end of her first year, she traveled to India for a summer vacation. It was there, at a luxurious hotel in Darjeeling, that she met the crown prince of the small Himalayan kingdom of Sikkim. He was 36 years old, nearly twice her age. He had recently been widowed and had 2 sons and a daughter from his first marriage. But despite this, Hope quickly fell in love with him. She was fascinated by his wisdom and his deep interest in Indian spirituality. The crown prince, on the other hand, saw in Hope not only a beautiful young woman, but also someone who could become a loving mother to his children after the death of his first wife. They were also drawn to each other by the similar loneliness of their childhoods and the pain of losing someone they loved. The crown prince had also suffered a terrible loss after his brother died in a plane crash. Hope felt that she had finally found someone who truly understood her. "The second time we met, he proposed to me," she later recalled. "I said yes, yes, yes. I just fell in love with his sad, sad eyes." At one point, Hope even said that she believed she had lived in Sikkim in a previous life. 2 years after their first meeting, their engagement was officially announced. They planned to marry in 1962, but astrologers warned that the year carried evil omens. The prince's culture took such predictions very seriously, so the wedding was postponed for another year. On March 20th, 1963, Hope married Thondup Namgyal in a Buddhist monastery. The wedding ceremony lasted 4 hours and featured the chanting of Buddhist monks and colorful traditional dances. She became the first American-born queen consort of an Asian kingdom. The only other American woman with a comparable royal title at the time was Grace Kelly, who had married the Prince of Monaco in 1956. After the wedding, Hope left her life behind and moved permanently to Sikkim. Although Sikkim was poor and isolated, its breathtaking mountains, peaceful monasteries, and rich traditions fascinated her. She quickly fell in love with her new home, perhaps even more than with her new husband. With her marriage, Hope became the stepmother of the crown prince's 2 sons and 1 daughter, a role she warmly embraced. After her own difficult childhood, she saw in them a chance to experience the family life she had never had. Later, the couple welcomed 2 children of their own, a son, Prince Gurmd, and a daughter, Princess Hope Leesum, who was named after her mother. Before long, Queen Hope became an international sensation. Photographs of the young American queen wearing traditional Sikkimese dress appeared in newspapers and magazines around the world. Her extraordinary love story captured the public's imagination, and for a while, it seemed like she was living the perfect fairy tale. But behind the palace walls, that fairy tale was already beginning to fall apart. Her husband, despite his outwardly progressive image, was a heavy drinker who often lost his temper when he was drunk. And throughout their entire marriage, from before it even began, he had been having an affair with a married Belgian woman. He even flew to visit her just weeks before Hope gave birth to their first child. As the political situation in Sikkim grew worse in the early 1970s, the king's drinking became even heavier, and his behavior became increasingly unpredictable. On one occasion, he threw Hope's record player out of the window, an item she considered her lifeline to the West. At the same time, the Indian media began portraying Hope as a CIA agent, blaming her American background for the kingdom's growing political troubles. The constant pressure placed even more strain on their marriage. To cope with everything, Hope began drinking more often and became dependent on Valium, sometimes spending days in bed. In 1975, a coup took place. The small country lost its independence and was declared another state of India. Hope, together with her 2 children and 1 stepdaughter, managed to leave the country and return to the United States. 5 years later, in 1980, Hope and Paulden officially divorced. Then, just 2 years later, the former king died of cancer in a New York hospital. With child support and an inheritance, Hope was able to put her children through school and build a new life in the United States. In 1980, she published her autobiography, Time Change, which became a great success. She later built a career as a writer, historian, and lecturer. Hope eventually married again, this time to Pulitzer Prize-winning historian Mike Wallace. However, that marriage also ended in divorce. Years later, when asked to reflect on her life in Sikkim and her marriage, she gave a quiet but heartbreaking answer. "I'm a different person now. If I'd had a sense of myself when I married, I wouldn't have lost my boundaries in Asia." Today, Hope Cooke is 86 years old and lives in Brooklyn, New York. Her children have grown up and built successful careers of their own. Her son, Prince Paulden Namgyal, is the co-founder and senior managing director of Atlas Advisors, an investment banking firm in New York. He frequently visits Sikkim and takes part in cultural and public events, where many people still refer to him as the Crown Prince. Her daughter, Princess Hope Leesom, graduated from Milton Academy and Georgetown University. She first married a U.S. Foreign Service officer. After their divorce, she remarried, this time to a former commissioner of the Sikkim police. Today, she lives in Sikkim with her family. Hope Cooke may have lost her crown, her kingdom, and her marriage, but her incredible story will never be forgotten. Do you think Hope Cooke made the right decision by marrying the king of Sikkim? Share your thoughts in the comments, and that's it. If you enjoyed the video and want more like it, be sure to leave a thumbs up below in appreciation. And if you haven't already, you really want to subscribe to my channel and tick the bell icon so you get notified as I upload a new video every week. See you in the next video.